I grew up in the rural areas of Tioga County here, and I always loved wildlife and outdoors, but it wasn't until I was early in high school that I actually found out there were jobs that allowed you to work with wildlife in the outdoors. So from that time on, I haven't changed my mind. That's what I wanted to do. I worked for a year or two in South Carolina at Savannah River Ecology Lab, and then I had enough experience where I could be competitive on a state job here in Pennsylvania. So I got a job with the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, Bureau of Forestry, as their wildlife biologist, which I worked at for 15 years. Well, the first step was retiring from the state, my state job of 15 years, and that's a big step to leave a secure job and to move into something new. It started out small. I got a couple jobs where they needed a bat scientist to go out and do surveys for bats. So that kind of got the company started, and then we started getting some wetland delineation work where we went out and identified wetland habitats and mapped them. And from there we started developing rare plant work and more bat work and rattlesnake work and other mammal work. So it just kind of grew rapidly over the first 2 or 3 years. We started out operating just in the counties surrounding Wellsboro here, 3 or 4 counties each direction, but because there was a lot of gas development in this area, but now we're working as far away as New York, New Jersey, and as far south and west as Kentucky. For most of our jobs, we end up walking in the woods looking for things, and that's a lot of fun for those of us who do that. Some of the jobs get more specific where we actually handle animals, like with rattlesnake construction monitoring. We may have our people come out and move snakes away from construction projects, or if we're doing a bat survey, we may have to do netting to capture the bats at night and handle the bats, verify what species are in an area. So, but typically it's more of the just field surveys looking for habitat and mapping it. We typically maintain about between 11 and 15 full-time employees, and then we have, during the summer, we add another dozen to 2 dozen, depending on jobs, of seasonal employees. We use GPS units a lot and digital cameras, but then we also use some very sophisticated stuff like bat detectors that capture the acoustic transmissions of the bats and analyze them. So some of it's fairly high-tech, other things are pretty simple. We do a lot of mapping too, using computer and some advanced software. Yeah, a lot of our work is to look for conflicts between the natural gas industry and the resources, and try to find ways to allow the two to coexist together. So a lot of our work's related to natural gas, but we also do some work with wind energy and with transportation projects. I found out that most business grows best through connections, through personal connections. And if people know that you're good at something and they know you're available, that's the best way to get started. Then word of mouth often spreads to new clients, and advertising helps some, but we've frankly gotten very little through advertising, almost all through word of mouth and through personal connections. We constantly are looking for other opportunities to get involved in. Lately, we've been doing more with deer management in suburban settings, advising townships and municipalities on how to manage their deer overabundance problems in those settings where hunting's not allowed. Don't overextend yourself with loans. Would be a don't, but the do's are talk to as many people as you can who are currently doing it, find out what the market is, and not only that, but often you're going to have to work with people instead of against them. So don't look at other people in the field as competition, look at them as potential partners, and that's going to go a long ways to being successful.